Hi, welcome back, everybody. It's room 2. We have some nice 3 more presentations for you ready. For good to remember, during the presentation, you can post your questions already in the chat, and you can also chat with other attendees via the private chat. So our next speaker is Dirk van der Ploeg. He is Program Manager Digital Engineering of the largest constructor of the Netherlands, BAM. And he's going to talk about how to foster citizen development within a big enterprise.
Yes.
So,
thanks a lot, Wouter.
Hey, Dirk. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Nice you're
Good
here.
to see you.
I did introduce you. I'm not sure if you were there already, or did you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Perfect. So, yeah, please take the stage. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Wouter, for the opportunity, and the rest of the Viktor team. Thanks for the opportunity of having us on this conference. As you can see coming up in the screen right now, is that in the coming 20 minutes, we will talk to you about citizen development in our digital engineering team in Royal BAM Group. I'm here together with my colleague Johan Tuls, who will also take part of the presentation, so he will join in later on. Before I give a short introduction about our company and our digital strategy. Let me first start with summarizing our main message for today. Our message is that in our view, citizen development is the right strategy for enabling engineers to automate their work. We think it's the right way to go. We have over the last couple of years quite some good experience with this approach, and therefore we would like to share our experience with you as well. In my view, citizen development requires close collaboration with the IT function in your company. It requires a serious drive from the business. So there should be a clear business need and clear opportunities. And it also requires close collaboration, not only within the company, but also with other companies, because that's part of the success. And to close our presentation, we want to give you a bit more insight in the architecture of our platform, the way we work, and the way we approach digital engineering. But before I continue, I would like to give you a brief overview of what our company looks like. Well, for the people who know us in Europe, might be quite familiar. We are market leading in the UK and Ireland and in the Netherlands. We have around 16,000 employees and a revenue of around 7 billion. On the pictures you see a couple of our projects we have, and I think our group is strong in the integration of design and construction, and we have a strong drive up towards the CEO level, a strong drive for sustainability and also working digitally. Well, that's our focus, our strategy as a company to work sustainable and digital in a smart way. To give you an idea of the kind of projects, well, we work closely in neighborhoods, on roads and small junctions, but also upwards to big hospitals, big offices, and also huge infrastructure projects like the one you see here. This is the biggest lock of the world, which we have built over the last couple of years, and we're also working on other main maritime infrastructure in the Netherlands. Then about working digitally at BAM. The current digital strategy of BAM focuses on investing in the critical mass, so the center group of our employees. Of course, the company also supports the front runners, but the main investment at the moment is going into making sure that the big group of employees also in the middle can keep up with the latest developments in working digitally. And we're trying to move on from one-off success stories to bringing digital in our standard practice in our projects. And what I personally really like about that is that we see a lot of examples where it also brings different generations in the company together. So we've seen a lot of examples where all the people in our company can share their knowledge and experience with the younger generations coming in, and at the same time, younger generations helping other colleagues out with working with the new digital tools. And that's what what motivates me and drives me to bring this further, because you see that this brings us further as a company. Then, to be a bit more specific about our digital engineering strategy, what is the reason for BAM as a company to invest in digital engineering? We are focusing on reducing risk in tenders, reducing the engineering hours, and also enhance employee satisfaction. And that's mainly in our engineering departments, because we want to give our engineers the best tools we can find in the market. And of course, on the longer term, this should result in a differentiation in our position in the market. The approach we follow is we try to see projects as a learning platform. So that means we try to develop tools and applications that we can implement as quick as possible, and try to have a steep learning curve and improve them over projects again and again. We also try to keep the size of our apps as quite small, to create a low entry level for users. And also we have a policy of developing our apps with our own engineers, so with our structural and geotechnical and BIM engineers, because we think it's important that they understand the end user needs. Then, to give you an idea where this all fits into the bigger landscape of a big company, we've plotted here in a larger model the place where we see Viktor and Python development coming in. And you see also that we have quite some platforms in the middle where we use low-code development, like Mendix and also the Microsoft platform. And well, these kind of platforms are used all across the company. And just as we are using Viktor, our IT department is stimulating that end users get also a responsibility in developing and contributing to apps for the business. What we see then is that you can see some different type of developers, and our current experience with the digital engineering team is that it works best to have a mixture of pro developers and a bit less developed developers, or a bit less experienced. And also we like to involve students in our teams, so that we can make use of the latest knowledge which come from university. Then I would like to show you a couple of things that we have done to foster and develop the use of Viktor. Of course, we think it's important to provide a good platform to the team, to make sure that they can work with professional tools. We have decided to focus on the area where we can add value, and not build everything by ourselves. So that's of course why we work together with Viktor. Then some practical things like facilitating regular lunch and learn sessions, celebrate successes, and of course be patient while going through a learning curve. Another thing which was important is maintaining a close collaboration with our IT departments, and also integrating quality control and end user tests in our development and Scrum process. And last but not least, we have experienced many times that it's important to let the business owners set the priorities, because in the end, they are also a sponsor of the investment. So that helps as well. Then we would like to show you two examples, and after that I would like to give my colleague Johan the floor to explain a bit more about the way we work and the architecture of our way of working. Then the first example I would like to show you is about the Xbloc. That is a breakwater element, which is an in-house development of BAM, in which we are placing and executing all around the world. And we have developed a design app which we publicly have made available via the external website. So any interested client for these kind of designs can just go to our website and fill in some of the parameters of their projects and get a very quick first design out of that. So that's something which works very nice for us and also integrates well with the web interface of Viktor. Then the second example will be explained by Johan. So I would like to give the floor to Johan.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Johan Tuls. I'm one of the lead engineers of digital design, and I'm going to talk you through one example of a small but steady application, the CPT interpretation, followed by the software architecture and the journey that we went through. The CPT interpretation is an application that can be used basically on any project where you have measurements of the soil, which we load into a Viktor environment, where the user, the geotechnical specialist, can interpret the measurement and then classify which soil should be assigned to each layer, followed by some cross sections as the specialist likes to take. We have an export towards our 3D model, so we have it integrated with all the metadata included, so it's also visible for all the parts of the project, including the team that is building it, constructing it, so you can see where are the clay layers, etc. So you give some additional insight. So it's not only used within the design department, but also throughout the entire lifetime of a project. And we have a lot of integrations to start our designs with, like the geotechnical software of Delta or Plaxis, the export to the Revit, and also some reporting facilities. We have we synchronize it with an external database, so we can have some insight over the projects, and we have an export, so we can use this data for all other kinds of applications, which have a starting point of the soil profile and the data that comes along with it. But how did we come to this journey? By using Viktor and having all the improvements that we have done up to now. So I'm gonna take you through a small journey, how we started as structural engineer towards more the digital engineer as we are working as now. Before, we used to automate our own work, writing scripts either in Python or Jupyter Notebook, to automate every action that has some kind of repetition on our own projects, just as a civil engineer or geotechnical specialist. However, at some point you see some code that starts repeating itself, and as you don't repeat yourself, we started to create some modules where we gathered some abstract code, followed by gathering them within one package, which we published with a private key, so we have it internally available, which can function as a foundation for all our applications. Then we came to the problem that, well, we can use it as Python programmers. However, our colleagues, most of them don't really know how to code, especially not high-level coding. So we have been investigating how to create a user interface, and we've actually created some applications using Django and Flask. However, a lot of time was spent on development of front end, while we want to be occupied with the business logic, as that has the most overlap with the civil engineering, which is our background and where our passion is all about. So at the same time, there were some talks with Viktor, which has replaced Django and Flask as a user interface, so we don't have to design the front end. We can just configure it as a low code kind of approach to facilitate this user interface part, as well as some integrations towards our calculation software, engineering software. What you see is that each application has a certain common ground, which is you have some user interface where you approach the application. That can either be the terminal, it can be Viktor, it can be Django or Excel. You enter some data, and then you build some model which represents the logic. That data, that model, you analyze it either with some external package or just within some code that you have written in Python itself, and the results. And then you have some adapters how you want to visualize it back to the user interface. And if you go one step further, you realize that the front end is really specific for the use case that you have. It can either be specific for a part of your company, depending on how the people like it, the language, and all that kind of stuff that is really related to the stakeholders. However, the background is really abstract and can be reused a lot of times. So what we have been doing is that we create a backend and we separate it by an API management layer so we can reuse it and try to keep the applications as small as possible while keeping the engine below robust, high quality and high performance without repeating yourself. So here, this is in the backend, it's where we host our Python code, our C engineering, idea aesthetica, as you've seen in all the presentations. So the front end is mainly facilitated by Viktor. We configure it, and then the background is what we focus on, the business logic combined with the data. However, there are different companies doing the same thing. So the past few months, we've started a movement where we see the common ground between all kind of companies, which build upon the foundations of the Python and the domain loaders, like, for instance, the guidelines and the codes that we all have to design by, the product data that we use for our girders, our columns, piles, etc. The definition of a structural model, as well as the bindings with external packages. And on top of this, we have some checks that we build, but that's where the intellectual property is. So the initiative was taken by a colleague of mine, Enrique, and me to start an open source library for the civil and geotechnical world, named Blueprints, which is coming out soon, and a package to facilitate in all these abstract building blocks to make sure that we don't all invent the wheel all by ourselves once again, because the entire point of digital, making things digital, is to don't repeat yourself. So why do we have to do it between companies as well? So if you go back to the engine, the separation of the front end and the back end, what you create is like an engine in the back end, which has the option to create really lightweight applications with different user interfaces. So internally, we have like this abstract representation of how we build our applications. That we have on the top, you have the input, you see the input, you convert the data to a model, and then below the surface, there is like some engines that don't really know which applications they are used, in which applications they are used. And it doesn't really matter, as there is like an abstract layer and an adapter that converts it. And on the right side, you have like the output, which is also really specific for the stakeholders. So if you convert it, then we have a foundation, Python, and all the abstract levels below that we don't know anything about because we're not really computer scientists. On top, we build an abstract layer named Blueprints with all the building blocks of civil engineering that we all have to build. Then there is like the engine, which is basically microservices glued together with our private package, the BAM SDK. On top of that, we allow the business to build applications specific for their needs. And to make sure that everything goes well, we have a monitoring system on top to check if everything is going well. So if there's a problem somewhere in the system, then we know how to hotfix it as soon as possible. So that was a brief journey through our architectural journey the past few years. And I wonder if there are any questions.
Thanks, Johan and Dirk. Thanks for your very nice presentation. Who makes these nice graphs of these motor graphs and stuff like that? Are you doing that yourself, Johan, or?
Yeah, it's just about point that this was my engine was broken, and then I came up with the idea to how to represent our architecture.
Nice, cool. And we hear that there's still hard work going on in the background at your place, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we're on the construction site.
Oh, nice. That's how we like it. So cool presentation. Thanks very much. And nice that you combine it with the two of you, which gives a very good overview, both from the program side as well as more technology-wise, and also the vision on it is pretty cool. There are some questions in the chat, so I will read them out loud. We were wondering how is an idea going to a project? Is there, let's say, a formal process? Is there a business case? How does it work at BAM?
Okay. Yeah, I can answer it. We work in the agile way, so we try to copy the lessons learned from the software brains. So we have always a stakeholder group, which is represented by a product owner, and then we have a discovery phase where we make sure that we have let's say we know how the electric Ferrari will look like, so the future, and we try to have that in mind and then scale it down to a small MVP to make it workable, and then we expand it, and then we end up with like a Lamborghini instead, because, well, on the way we learn things. So yeah, it's we try to
keep the sponsor. Who is that?
No.
Who's the sponsor?
Yeah, who is then the sponsor where you're posing your ideas, and who's making the choice on your roadmap, so to say?
Yeah, so we have the different stakeholder groups, which are typically the different engineering departments, and they're represented by one product owner. And every sprint start, we bring the product owners together and do a priority game. So
okay.
So the ideas are pitched, and of course this has some business case logic behind it. So we're looking at the investment versus the returns as well.
Cool. So then actually the peers are choosing. So the priority game. So the different product owners are choosing the ideas.
Yeah, but there is a weighting factor which depends on what is already available on the code side. So the cost is influenced by our capital, to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Were you also still wondering on this one, because you?
Yes. Well, it's interesting to note that indeed in the slides you mentioned business owners are informed and they have the final verdict. So I was indeed curious about, okay, how does that take shape in practice? How do you find new ideas?
Yeah, well, the new ideas are not typically coming from the business owner. So the ideas are coming up bottom up from the teams, but they need some confirmation from higher management. And they need to confirm, okay, is this the right market choice or the right client to work for? So that's how top and bottom comes together.
Yeah. Oh, and did we get it right that you are focusing purely on engineering and not on, let's say, construction applications, more or less?
Correct. I think that's correct. Yeah, for our team, of course, within BAM Group, we have also, of course, other teams, but our team is focusing on design stage. Yes.
Yeah. And let's say we are talking about citizen development. So how many citizen developers are there within BAM, and is that changing over time? What do you envision?
I think we're working with a sort of a center group now, which is around 4 to 6 people, and then a wider group which is involved, well, with ups and downs. And the wider group is, I think, around 20 to 25 people who are well doing development on their own projects.
Actually, writing Python code.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but throughout the company, there are like a lot of different like data scientists and data engineers and so on. So it's out of scope because there are, well, it's not really the digital design part where we are involved in. We have a lot of contact and overlap, of course, but it's a different team.
But those data engineers and scientists, they work more on a project, and you try to be more on the generic company-wide side of things. Is that fair to say?
Combination probably. We are mainly on the generic part indeed. However, the data scientists and data engineering part and so on, they also have a lot of representation of generic processes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a major shift going on developing something first and then applying it in projects, while instead of just fixing things today on the projects that are available today.
I see a nice question coming up from Jacco Haasnoot. Maybe you know him. Are your developments focused on the Dutch market, or is it spread out throughout the whole company? Also, are the applications also used in the UK, for instance?
Yeah, we have contact with our sister company in the UK. They are also doing a lot with Python, and we are also exploring with Viktor. But that was one of the reasons why we were trying to separate our backend from the front end, as the front end, these part of the companies have their own history, and therefore we try to find solutions to use our code for them and the other way around. So it's we have a lot of connections with England and the Netherlands mainly.
Maybe I can add to that to explain that the company in the UK and Ireland also looks a bit different than in the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands we have a huge we have our own engineering capacity. We have around 400 to 500 people in engineering and design. In the UK and Ireland, this capacity is subcontracted, so they're working together with big engineering firms.
Yeah, I can imagine that's way different then.
Yeah.
And you are focusing on quite, let's say, smaller apps, like you say. Do you also tie them together to form kind of a very large multidisciplinary project?
Yeah, there's a lesson learned that we start with really big apps. However, a big app is basically a collection of really small apps bound together. And our approach has changed from starting with big apps to creating a lot of smaller apps, and then on the app level, then you combine them in a longer chain. So that's one of the lessons learned that we
went through.
I guess it's smart.
I think that sounds it sounds like a lesson we've also learned, but I also wonder then, how do you determine upfront what is the right modularity? What are the limits of one of those small blocks? Because sometimes you learn, these were actually the correct blocks to use because you first built it in a big app.
Yeah, also this is also a little bit about architecture. So we try to have a single responsibility for each engine, each class and each object in Python. And then once you have a collection of these engines that have on their own responsibility, then having these blocks, the first question is, can we use these blocks for these the new idea that has been suggested? And if that's not the case, then the cost for development will be higher. So there's like a natural selection based on what we've already developed. And then what you're missing, then the question between the new app and what we've already developed, then you can define, is this like a new building brick, or is it like a custom made? And so we try to have a selection based on how reusable is it, with a balance of how necessary is it for the question that we have at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks very much, Dirk and Johan. Good luck at the construction site. Thanks for the very good presentation. Really liked the total story on the vision, the objectives, and also more technology-wise, your vision, and even showing Blueprint, the new thing coming up, which is very nice. So thanks for your contribution to the event, and good luck tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.